Hey, I'm Glenn, and welcome to the Sporting Insights podcast, where we cover biggest plays, biggest hits, and the biggest news.
And hey, I'm Michael, and this is our Week 2 recap of the NFL season, covering the scores, highlights, and why we picked who we picked.
Make sure to like and subscribe if you're new here. So let's jump right into this episode. Kicking things off, let's talk about the biggest upsets we saw yesterday on an awesome week of NFL football.
Yeah, so I'll take it away with my first upset. I had the Steelers beating the Raiders. And yeah, I know the Raiders beat a solid Ravens team last week, but I really didn't see them coming in and beating Pittsburgh this week. What did you think, Glenn?
Yeah, honestly, upset for me as well. I didn't like the Raiders coming into the season. Really, I just think that John Gruden's huge contract and them not performing well the first few years really just was off-putting to me. I started to lose hope and faith in the Raiders organization and John Gruden and even Derek Carr. I think they've proven that, if he has the chance to pick his picks, pick his players, and run his system, it seems to be working this far. But we're only 2 weeks in, and we'll have to see how it plays out.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of season to be played, especially in a tough division. I mean, that could quite possibly be the best division in football right now. The AFC West, you have the Chiefs, the Chargers. Yeah, they lost last week to Dallas, but I mean, that's a tough division. The Broncos are 2-0. There's a lot of upside to that division for sure. So I think the Raiders, they seen some key pieces kind of come together, especially in that system that's been running for for a couple of years now. Derek Carr's kind of found a groove. I mean, he's one of the top quarterbacks so far this season. Henry Ruggs finally stepped up to the plate and showcased his speed a little bit. There was a lot of positives for Oakland coming out of that game, and kind of impressive, not going to lie.
No, it absolutely was. I'm just excited to see how it plays out. Like you said, it's such a tough division. The Broncos are 2-0, and they have a couple easy games coming up. I believe they have the Jets next. I don't know who else. The Chiefs are always, going to be favored in the division. I think it's really a race between, them and the Chargers for possibly a wild card.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that happening. I mean, the Broncos, like you said, they're starting 2-0. They do have a relatively easy schedule. I'm pretty sure it might be rated the easiest schedule outside of playing the Chiefs twice. So that's definitely something to be, looking forward to coming forward, as all these teams are going to be competing really closely. We did see LA lose yesterday to Dallas, which I would consider an upset. I think they're a better overall team. Dak didn't have a great day. I think he had like 179 yards and a pick. Zeke didn't show up either, but somehow Dallas got the job done. So what'd you end up thinking about that game?
Yeah, really. So the Cowboys just really impressed me with the first game against the Buccaneers. They could have possibly caught the Bucs off guard with them coming off the Super Bowl win, and the Cowboys notoriously, losing big games and always, even if they're in the lead, even if they have an advantage, they always seem something always seems to go wrong for them. But really, I just seen Dak Prescott, and my prediction was that he would outplay Justin Herbert, that he was the better quarterback at this point. And the Cowboys' defense just really impressed me last week against the Buccaneers. I just thought the defense would play similar and overall just get the win. It was a very close game, like you said, so it kind of squeaked by with that prediction.
Yeah, and the weirdest thing about the entire game was the refs. Like I've never seen so many just absurd, awkward calls. Especially the one where like Justin Herbert was trying to make a play. He gets tackled, but before he even hits the ground, he releases the ball and they call him down. I mean, he was nowhere near down. Everyone was confused. I think the broadcasters were confused. The rules analyst was confused. Like there were a number of plays in that game that was just mind blowing. That game was just weird overall. So, but moving on, who was your biggest upset?
Yeah, so honestly, looking at our predictions here, I would have to say it was our Saints pick. I mean,
Yeah.
I really was impressed by their week one performance. And I was really rooting, for Justin Winston there. But from what he did, he kind of looked like the old version of himself when he was on the Buccaneers. He had 2 picks, just didn't have an overall great game. And honestly, the Panthers, I love their running back in McCaffrey, but other than that, uh, they don't have a whole lot to offer, and I thought they would be a bottom tier team this year. So this was an impressive win for me.
Yeah, I mean, Jameis definitely didn't look like himself from week one. That's for sure. We definitely saw a kind of like a fall back to his stereotypical Jameis Winston style. He let a couple passes get away from him. Granted, he was trying to make plays at the end of a bad game already when some of these, things happen. But overall, I'd have to agree that is probably close to equal to the biggest upset. I still wasn't a full, believer in the Saints, even though they had a great week last week. It's hard to buy into something when you lose a piece like Drew Brees and you're replacing it with the likes of like a Jameis Winston. I hope that he succeeds. I think he has the ability to be a super fun player to, watch and everything on a great team. But yeah, overall, it's just hard to put a whole lot of faith, especially when you're going against like, Christian McCaffrey and this like reloaded Panthers team who consistently has a good defense and stuff. I was hesitant to pick the Saints, but I did in the hopes that they could repeat the performance from last week. But I think we're kind of seeing a little bit more of what they really are after week 2. So
Definitely, and honestly, I think that I'm not giving the Carolina Panthers defense enough credit. And I for some reason just always forget, Sam Darnold got traded over there. He's a very talented quarterback. Yeah, he's like a lot of these young quarterbacks. He has the potential, to be a top 15, top 10 quarterback. And they started off 2-0, and I'm sure he's liking this Carolina team much more than the Jets.
Oh yeah. Anytime you have a legitimate running game, a defense that can back you up, and a few playmakers like the likes of Christian McCaffrey as a run pass option, it's got to be a blessing compared to what he had in New York for sure. So let's talk about our locks of the week. First of all, who was the one lock that you had for sure that was going to win this week?
Honestly, easy. Buccaneers.
Yeah, I mean that is an easy one, I guess, considering how much the Falcons have struggled. But that wasn't I wouldn't say that was an easy win though.
No. It wasn't an easy win whatsoever. But that was the team that, in the back of my mind, I feel like I could have bet however much money if it was legal here, and I wouldn't have even sweated it one bit. The Falcons offense, they did impress me. They do have some weapons over there, and they're an underrated team. They haven't started off great, but it's a long season. We'll have to see what they have to bring. But we say it week after week. It's absolutely insane to see Tom Brady just doing what he's doing week after week.
Of course,
he's
and
44
Gronk
years
too.
old, man. Yeah, and Gronk.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean the Bucs are easy pick, right? Like especially looking after last week and the way the Falcons started the season last year and everything else. So my lock. Okay, let's just put it this way. The one that I picked for my Eliminator League on ESPN, I picked the Broncos over the Jags, mainly because I don't think the Jags can beat anybody right now. But that's probably not who I would have guaranteed a win this week. My guaranteed lock was the Bills over the Dolphins this week. We talked about it earlier. The Bills had a really kind of like uncharacteristic week 1 with the Steelers, who are a great team in their own right. Don't get me wrong, but the Bills just didn't play like themselves. So like we talked about before, I expected the Bills to come out fully prepared, focused. I think they had a little bit too much hype going into week 1 and kind of felt like they couldn't be defeated. I think they got an early dose of, some wake-up medicine, and they turned things around, and they showed why they were favored to win that division and to potentially make a run at an AFC championship and a Super Bowl showing, I guess.
No, definitely. And I kind of want to get to this game as well. To be honest, we both had this one wrong. The Chiefs and Ravens game. If you guys are listening to this now, make sure to go back and check our week 1 recap and our predictions for that on our YouTube channel here for Sporting Insights. I did give a slight prediction that I see the Ravens as being a team that could possibly win the Super Bowl. I see Lamar eventually breaking through one of these years. For me, I see him kind of like a Giannis type in the NBA. He has all the talent, but he just has to figure out how to get it done. I do see him, eventually winning a Super Bowl. But honestly, I had the Chiefs winning. He hadn't beat Patrick Mahomes yet. His defense, a bunch of his rosters completely hurt. They're pulling guys, from the sidelines of the game to come play for him. So it was amazing, opportunity to see that game, and I was shocked. I thought the Chiefs were going to pull it out, especially late in that third quarter.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone did. I don't think there were very many people that honestly thought the Ravens were going to win that game at any point. To include when they had the lead at the end of the fourth quarter there. When you have Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs offense driving with more than enough time to drive down and win the game, I think everyone still thought the Chiefs were going to win. It was a fluke play. Edwards-Helaire has his very first NFL fumble, uncharacteristic from him. He's provided a lot of success to just kind of give the Chiefs a defined run game. It doesn't have to be a great run game. It just has to keep people honest, and that's what he's done. And you know what? He's a young kid who made one mistake at a very poor time, cost his team a little bit. Patrick Mahomes threw his first interception in September. They were making a big deal about that. It was going to happen at some point. It just happened to happen last night. Wasn't good timing on that one either. Kind of gave the Ravens a spark that got them back in that game. But yeah, I definitely didn't see the Chiefs losing that game literally until that fumble happened. So big surprise for me as well. I think Lamar, like you mentioned, has all the tools to succeed. It's just a matter of like who can keep pace. Is it going to be Lamar staying one step ahead of NFL defenses? Or is it going to be NFL defenses staying one step ahead of Lamar? And only time can tell that one. So,
No, absolutely. And I had to pose this question to you. This is important because it was a hot take I seen. Okay, so Patrick Mahomes, obviously, he's going to be compared to Tom Brady for the rest of his career if he keeps playing like he's playing.
Okay.
From some conversations I've seen out there, there is a conversation that if there's 2 or 3 minutes left in the ball game, who would you rather want? Obviously, you can argue who's more talented. If you have equal rosters, who would be the better player, even though Tom Brady has won 7 Super Bowls. My question to you is, how confident do you feel having Mahomes left with 2 minutes, 3 minutes on the clock? I would have to say, you're very confident with Tom Brady. We've seen it so many times, including in the game against Cowboys opening night. So what would you say to that?
100% confidence in Patrick Mahomes. He has given zero reason not to be thus far in his career. He's led comebacks on multiple occasions. He's put the Chiefs in a position to win multiple times. Last night was an absolute fluke, man. Like they had a fumble that got away from a young running back who's all he's doing is trying to burn time. So he's making a cut. If you watch the video, he's making a cut towards the middle of the field to position his kicker for an easier game-winning field goal. And I think what his mind was going to is get to the middle of the field when it should have been protecting the ball and then get to the middle of the field. It's a fluke. I guarantee you this kind of stuff isn't going to happen to the Chiefs very often. In my opinion, the Ravens got a little lucky. But overall, they definitely played a very good game. I just feel like the Chiefs outplayed them a little bit. Chiefs made a few mistakes. It's a big learning experience, and I think they'll move forward from there. So it might sound a little biased, but honestly, that's just the way I've seen it happening. So, but moving on from that question, I have another question for you. What did you think about Kyler Murray and the Cardinals squeaking out a win over the Vikings?
I mean, I love to see it. You already know. I think that, it was a very close game. I was worried in the beginning of the game, the middle of the game, and the end of the game. I would definitely say they scraped by. I would say they got lucky. I mean, I think, Kyler, he played an amazing game. Not as good as he did week one, of course, but the whole team played good. I mean, the defense played phenomenal. You could argue they looked like the best team in football, the week one game. But, Kyler, he had 400 yards, but he had 2 interceptions, 3 touchdowns. Kirk Cousins impressed me, and honestly, again, going into after the week one game, the Vikings, I think you told me, that you think that the Vikings should have won both games. But honestly, the first game, I just did not like how they looked. I thought the Cardinals should at least beat them by around 7 to 10 points. But I do like the team. I still think they have all it takes to be a very good playoff team and possibly play spoiler to some of these big teams that are favorited. But we're going to have to continue to see. They have to continue to play better, and Kyler's going to have to continue to take care of the ball. They're not going to win if he's turning it over.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree. I mean, Kyler had 41 points for fantasy owners out there. Those numbers are crazy. I think he's like the third quarterback in history to ever put up those kind of numbers over the course of 2 weeks. Where you're throwing for 400 yards and throwing for 3 touchdowns and have a rushing touchdown. And curiously enough, he's on a list with Aaron Rodgers and Peyton Manning, which you wouldn't expect them to be, rushing for touchdowns, but quarterback sneaks get the job done sometimes. So, so like Kyler's his talent. I think he's starting to figure things out. Arizona as a whole is starting to figure things out. Minnesota put a lock on Hopkins, similar to the way Baltimore put a lock on Tyreek Hill last night. And the thing about Arizona is I think they were struggling to find someone to step up when Hopkins was kind of being taken out of the game after that early few drives. I think the first quarter is where he had the majority of his points as far as fantasy goes. But, we saw the Chiefs adjust to Baltimore and start hitting the third, fourth receiver, Travis Kelce off the line. We saw him, dump off to multiple different outlets. I think Patrick Mahomes completed to 10 different receivers yesterday. And that's where Kyler's going to have to kind of figure his way out with this offense. He has the best wide receiver in the NFL as far as hands go. And then he has, some great other options, but I think he's going to have to utilize the likes of like Christian Kirk a little bit more in his running backs as a safety outlet. He relies a lot on his legs, but once he figures everything out and everything starts clicking, he's going to be right up there with Mahomes and Lamar Jackson as far as, these three moving forward for the next 5 to 10 years. So very exciting stuff for sure.
You think Hopkins is the best in the league? What about your favorite player, Odell Beckham?
No, Hopkins has the best hands in the league for sure. Beckham, in my opinion, is one of the most overrated players, but we can get into that on a whole discussion.
No, definitely. And go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, Odell Beckham has some amazing hands when he's not thinking about it, but he has a tendency to just get in his own head. I think 2 years ago when he actually played a full season, he had the most dropped touchdowns. These are passes that he dropped in the end zone in the entire NFL. So, like, stuff like that just doesn't fly to me as a former receiver. You got to catch the ball, man. Like, yeah, you made an amazing catch. You probably have the best catch of all time. But, like, dude, how do you drop a ball in the end zone when your quarterback's putting it in your hands? So, Jerry Rice feel the same way I do, I guarantee you. So, anyway, moving on. Final thoughts. It's week 2. Let's hear them.
Yeah, so we're recording this on Monday, right before the Packers-Lions game. Honestly, week 2, a great season. We had more upsets this week than the first week. Continuing to give our predictions, see how far we can get. I'm hoping that one of these weeks we're going to get a perfect record all the way down, but we'll see if that happens. We have 50 more tries, so I'm sure we can make that happen. I just want to say thanks to everyone who's viewing and tuning in. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to like this video and hit that notification bell as well. We're definitely going to be here for a long time giving you our predictions and breaking down the games. But last thoughts is I do have the Packers beating the Lions. Honestly, I hope to see a bounce back game from Aaron Rodgers. If it doesn't happen, if they continue to plummet, it's going to be sad to see. And I wonder if he's going to stick around for the whole entire season or if they try to trade him for something.
Yeah, no, I mean, at this point, I think they're probably too invested into proving their point or whatever. Like, I mean, Aaron Rodgers is, in my opinion, not going to throw the games. Sure, he had a terrible game last week. There's a short training camp, obviously. A lot of different things going on in that organization. But I also have Green Bay beating Detroit, which is sad for me as a Lions fan. But realistically, they're a better team. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have to show that he has more to offer than what he has shown, especially if he does want to go somewhere else. Someone's going to pick him up regardless. But if he's wanting what he wants and he wants to go somewhere where he can win and compete at a high level, there's a lot of places out there that are already spoken for. And the teams that need an Aaron Rodgers who isn't willing to prove himself are a lot slimmer than the teams who need an Aaron Rodgers at that MVP caliber. So if he can show that again this year, I think things are going to open up a lot more for him. And I think he realizes that. And I really think last week was just a fluke. So moving forward, I have Green Bay over Detroit. And then what are your final thoughts as far as the week as a whole?
Yeah, so honestly, I kind of like whenever there's more upsets in the week one. Like I said, honestly, it just makes it more fun when there's closer games, when there's teams that you just do not expect to win and do overcome. It really spices things up, especially like in fantasy and just overall as a league, just having a diverse, amount of talent in the league and knowing, there's not a guaranteed win in the football season. Every
For
game,
sure.
every team is trying to win. So that's one aspect of football that I think everyone loves is there's only 17 games, so you have to go hard for all 17. That's kind of what separates it from NBA, baseball, and other sports is there's so many games that they can take nights off. You can't take nights off in the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when you're in like a division like that AFC West that we talked about, the NFC East, for instance, it's going to be a tight race. It always is. I mean, shoot, they'll be lucky to have a winning record. Dallas is off to a good start, and as far as I'm concerned, but yeah. So absolutely, you're absolutely correct. You can't take a week off in the NFL, and any team can beat any team. That's the other thing. These guys are all pros, so teams like Jacksonville, who I said earlier, I don't think they can beat anybody. I mean, realistically, they can. They're all pros. Some people can have a bad week, and some teams can step up to the plate. But it'll be fun moving forward to see, what the future holds this year, and can the Rams, be the second team in history to have a home Super Bowl appearance, which looks like it possibly could be. I think it's going to be a really good look moving ahead 1 week when the Rams play Tampa Bay. I think that's going to be an awesome matchup. So that's my final thoughts. Glenn, did you have anything else you wanted to get out real quick?
No, all I want to say is if you're listening to this now still, thank you so much for listening to the whole video. Make sure to keep coming back. Keep watching our, prediction videos or breakdown videos because I guarantee you, well, not 100% guarantee, but I promise you, we're going to try our hardest to get a perfect picks all the way through for at least 1 week this season. It's going to be excited to break it down. It's only going to get better from here. So I'm super excited and looking forward to week 3. Make sure to come back to check out our week 3 prediction video. It'll definitely be up before Sunday this time. So apologies about the technical difficulties, but make sure to come back to tune in for that one.
Yeah, and I just want to reiterate what Glenn's saying. We just want to thank everyone. This is our first podcast and our second YouTube video that we'll be uploading. So, it'd be awesome. If you could like and subscribe, follow us throughout our journey. We're going to work hard. We'll hopefully build a community, and hopefully we can start taking members of that community, bring them on the podcast, see what they have to say, and kind of grow this one step at a time. So, from Sporting Insights, I'm Michael. Thank you once again, and we'll call it there.